it's me again. So, I'm here to make my second video now, and I'm going to preface it by saying I believe everything that the Most High says. The problem, however, is knowing exactly what did he say and what did he not say. Going to Genesis 1, we have the words, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth," or heaven and the earth, depending on what translation, etc. Notice, though, it doesn't say, "Thus saith the Lord." No, it simply says, God, in the beginning, God said this. What this means is that the writer was not speaking as a prophet, hearing from the Most High himself. This is like a historian. This is someone writing down a historical fact. There's a place in the Torah, and it is also written in the New Testament as well, says all things should be established by 2 or 3 witnesses. This is simply illogical. It is entirely honest to test everything in a way that you can validate or invalidate things. When there's a witness, or when there's when something happens, people often give the wrong information. If you ask them what happened in an event, like I was in an RCMP thing in the past, and this person ran by pretending to do a crime. Everyone was asked afterwards, "Hey, can you describe this person?" And it's really hard to keep track of at times. Counting on one person isn't reliable, but having more witnesses can really help with that. But if we continue reading Genesis 1, though, it tells us exactly how he made the earth. It says that he made a dome. It says he divided, he called it heaven, or the firmament. He put a firmament between the waters and the waters, dividing the waters above from the waters below. It says how he was on the face of the deep. Describes it as water. Describes as having suns and moons, the sun, the moon, and the stars all within the firmament, and the waters above the firmament, and waters below the firmament. It describes all of this in detail. But is this the only place that describes that? And the answer is no. There are many places that describe the earth. If we look at Isaiah 40, it talks about the earth being a circle, talks about the heavens being stretched as a tent. Look at Proverbs 8, describes the circle being inscribed into the deep when it was solid. Well, face of the deep, Genesis 1, it's water. You look at Job 38, describes it as the deep being frozen. Describes it as a circle in Proverbs 8 as well. We have many places talking about the firmament. We have Amos 9 verse 6 saying it's hard. We have Job 37 saying it's hard. We have Psalm 19 talking about it being as a tabernacle or tent, and the circle, the sun does its circuit in it. We have many different locations that talk about this. So if we're going to go by 2 or 3 witnesses, then Genesis 1 here is really standing up. And we also have Genesis 1 describing what is good. We have it talking about how in Genesis 1 verse 29 that we eat plants. We have it rest on the 7th day, the Sabbath. We have man and woman ruling together, holding to subdue, multiply, talking about that kind of stuff. This is what is described as good in the beginning. Is this the only place, though? No. We have descriptions of this in Isaiah 11. We have it in Isaiah 66. We have Hosea 2. And other places. In Isaiah 11 again, it says how there is the wolf will lay with the lamb, the lion will eat straw, the child will play with his hand in the nest of a viper, adder, cobra, depending how you want to translate it, and there will be no hurting or destroying because they will all know the Most High. This is equated with knowledge of the Most High. we have similar again, Isaiah 66. It says that that killing a lamb is like breaking a dog's neck. A dog is unclean. Killing an ox is like killing a man. An ox is clean, and yet it's considered as murder. It says they've chosen their ways, and so I will judge them. Basically, they've chosen wickedness, this bloodshed. Hosea 2 talks about a covenant with the animals, talks about also their wicked feasts, interestingly enough. Their wicked offerings, their grain and water offerings, says that he will make peace with the animals, establish a covenant with the animals, and he will abolish the bows and swords, bows used for hunting, of course. These are all descriptions that are just like Genesis 1. So we have 2 or 3 witnesses. So, if this is how we're validating things, then this passes. More than that, though, we also have the basic ability to understand moral consistency. We have the ability to perceive things and to evaluate them. So if we have the ability to test things, if we're able to understand basic concepts about moral consistency, think about how much more Creator has this. Everything we have, we received from Him. Our knowledge, our insights, all of those things He has, but more. So when we think about what is right and wrong, we're able to do tests. We're able to look at exactly what is being said and evaluate it, compare it, think about the implications of this, and realize, hey, if I have this ability, I have it because the Creator gave it to me, and the Creator has it abundantly more. If there's something wrong here, the Creator would know that more than we do. If it's inconsistent, if we can tell it's inconsistent, then how much more does the Creator know this as well? We are able to evaluate these things. He knows everything we experience. He knows everything we think. He knows everything. Forgive me, I'm saying he, and that is what it says in the Bible, but the Creator also created female. That's another discussion altogether about how male and female exist. Is the Creator entirely male? Is the Creator entirely female? I'm not here to have that conversation right now. I'm just going to, for the sake of simplicity, say he. It's easiest to say right now. Anyhow, if we desire peace and harmony, how much more does the Creator desire peace and harmony? The Creator gave us this desire. He created things with the intent for good and harmony, and we can recognize these things. Like not killing each other is a no-brainer. Nobody wants to be killed. Resting on every 7th day is a great thing. I don't understand the need for it if we enjoy it with our mortal bodies, but there's certainly nothing bad to say about it. Historically, men have always established societies and rulership, while women have always looked for strong leader-like men to associate with. This is how we've typically done in society. So it makes sense when it says in Genesis that that the woman is the helpmeet, and it says that the man was created to govern the garden, and she was created to do it with him. We have twists in everything in society today. We've made things bad, but it entirely makes sense that it says this. Now, would I be able to prove this is the way it should be? No, but neither can I fault the Bible for saying this. There's nothing I can accuse it based off of. This is rational. It makes sense. There's a writing I like. It's called The Homilies of Clement. It is essentially, it describes Peter, what Peter taught Clement, his debates with the wicked sorcerer Simon Magus, and it's much more intelligently written than any other writing I've really read. One of the interesting quotes in it, and there's a lot of them, is Peter mentioning various different corruptions. He mentions that they're put forth as a test. He also says that we can compare the creator, we know the creator of the Garden of Eden, that is who he is, that is his character, so we can compare everything else to his character from the Garden of Eden. If we look at the Garden of Eden, then we have a tool to be able to help us discern what is true and what is false. Another thing he said is that, and this one's really intelligent, is that something that simply is neither good nor evil. If a rock falls on somebody and kills them, that rock isn't evil because of it. The rock didn't make the choice. The rock did what it did because it was created to do that. A person cannot be judged or rewarded based off of simply being. A person who does evil because they were created to do evil is simply a neutral tool. It isn't, that person has done nothing to be condemned for. They don't have a say in the matter. But to be truly good or evil, you have to actually be able to choose to be good or evil. So we would be simply a product of our circumstances if we had no choice. So it isn't, for this reason, it's entirely fair and just to allow corruption into the scriptures. If we were simply handed the truth on a silver platter, then we couldn't be fairly judged. A person who hears something and then knows it isn't better than someone who hasn't heard and doesn't know it. They didn't have a say in the matter. It's not fair to judge a person who heard something versus someone who didn't hear something. But if a person hears something and rejects it, while another person hears it and accepts it, now there is something to judge them by. Their character has been put on display. They have made a choice. And this can either make them good or evil based off of what they choose. And so, when we hear scriptures, we are able to test the scriptures. We are able to actually validate them or invalidate them. What we choose to do with them puts on display our character and lets us choose to be either righteous or wicked. There are a number of options for what we can do. The first option that comes to mind is we can blindly believe whatever we hear in the name of faith. Second option is we can reject it because it's inconvenient. The third option is we can evaluate it carefully. Everything the Creator says is true, not simply he says it because he says it's true, but because it is true. Creator of all things, he created everything, and therefore they are true because he is true. Everything that exists is a reflection of him. As reality is to him, he has displayed it here. Everything that is true reflects him, and everything that is untrue does not reflect him. So when we hear what he says, we can evaluate it in that sense. It's not going to be illogical. What he says can be tested and validated. If it is inconsistent, then we can say there is untruth in here, and untruth is not of him. If I say two contradictory statements, then one is of him, and one can be of him, and the other one by necessity is not of him. When just blindly accepting something from him doesn't give us merit. It doesn't, every religion does that. Every person has the ability to say, I believe this, or I believe that. And saying that you are profoundly special for hearing him, for listening to what he says and just believing it because he says that, without even verifying that he said it, doesn't make us special. It doesn't make us worthy of reward. What really makes us worthy of reward, though, is when we take the time to test everything and prove everything. When we make sure we are right, make sure understanding is correct, then we have done something of value, of merit. We have done something that is worthy of reward. Anyhow, this one's a little bit shorter video. I'll go into more details, more examples later. But for now, I just wanted to give you guys a general idea here that we don't need to, or we don't need to just accept things because they're said. We need to actually test them and verify things. When we verify that something is true, we make ourselves more like him. Are we not the image of the Creator? If we believe what it says in Genesis 1, that we were created in his image, then we have his ability to be able to recognize him. We have the ability to discern and know what is from him and what isn't. I can't necessarily know everything that is on my own, but I can definitely evaluate what is stated and see when something is really wrong and inconsistent, so therefore it isn't from him. Anyways, that's just what I wanted to talk about in this video. Thank you for sticking around for part 2.